Ever notice those folks in uniform, the ones keeping our streets running smoothly, but they don't have a police badge?
Yeah, they're kind of mysterious.
Exactly. They're civil enforcement officers, and today we're diving deep into what it takes to join their ranks. We're using RoleCatcher.com. They have tons of resources for job seekers. So, you're interested in this career path. Let's see what RoleCatcher says.
They have a super comprehensive career guide for civil enforcement officers. It's a great starting point.
Awesome. When you picture a civil enforcement officer, what comes to mind? Someone writing parking tickets all day.
Well, that's part of it, but it's so much more.
Right, there's got to be more to it. RoleCatcher calls them the eyes and ears on the street.
Exactly. They're on the front lines, observing, reporting, playing a key role in keeping the public safe. Think of it this way. A civil enforcement officer might be the one to notice a broken streetlight or a suspicious package, even a safety hazard that others miss. They're trained to spot and report these things, adding an extra layer of security for everyone.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. So it's not just about enforcing parking. It's about being a presence that deters crime and keeps our neighborhood safe.
Absolutely. And it's a career that's constantly evolving as technology changes. Like, imagine using drones to check out traffic during rush hour or AI to catch parking violations instantly. RoleCatcher really emphasizes how tech is transforming this job, making it more efficient.
Okay, so now I'm picturing someone monitoring a wall of screens with live drone footage.
Yeah.
It sounds like you need to be pretty tech savvy these days to be a civil enforcement officer.
Tech skills are definitely more and more important, but it's not all about algorithms and drones. RoleCatcher's guide also really stresses those traditional skills: communication, conflict resolution, and obviously knowing those traffic and parking laws.
Right, because you're dealing with people from all walks of life and often in stressful situations. You need to know how to diffuse a tense moment, communicate clearly, maybe even exercise some patience when someone's having a bad day.
Exactly. Those people skills are essential. It's not about throwing your weight around. It's about using what you know to keep everyone safe and keep things running smoothly.
So you're not just an enforcer. You're a problem solver, a mediator, a diplomat. I guess that's what role catcher means when they say these officers have the opportunity to make a positive impact.
Exactly. It's about doing more than just handing out tickets. It's about actually making a difference.
I'm curious, what are some of the challenges that civil enforcement officers face day to day? The guide must mention that, right?
It does, and they're upfront about it. They acknowledge that it can be demanding, both physically and emotionally. You're out in the elements dealing with unpredictable situations and people.
That's true. You're the face of regulations that not everyone agrees with.
Absolutely. Resilience is key in this job. You need to stay calm, de-escalate those tense moments, and stay professional no matter what.
So not for the faint of heart, but honestly, what job doesn't have its tough sides?
Yes.
So far, we've established that being a civil enforcement officer is more than it seems. It's a dynamic role that needs a mix of tech skills, people skills, and dedication to public safety.
It really is. And like any career path, there's always room to learn, to move up, to take on more responsibility.
That's a great point. RoleCatcher's Guide talks about different career stages for civil enforcement officers, right? Like, what's the potential trajectory in this field?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher points out that you could start as a junior officer and then, with experience and learning, work your way up to senior positions.
That's good to know. What kind of senior roles are we talking about?
Well, you could become a field supervisor, managing other officers, or even specialize in something like parking technology or traffic flow management. Some even get into shaping policies and procedures.
Wow. So from patrolling the streets to influencing city policies. That's pretty impressive. It sounds like this could be a stepping stone to other opportunities in public service, too.
You're exactly right. The skills you build as a civil enforcement officer are useful in tons of places. Law enforcement, government agencies, even private security.
Okay, so we've covered the everyday realities, the challenges, the potential for moving up the ladder.
Yeah.
What about actually landing one of these jobs? That's where RoleCatcher's resources ace your interviews and streamline your job search come in handy, right?
Absolutely. These resources are packed with practical advice and tools. They can really give you an edge in this competitive job market.
I'm all ears. Let's dig into those resources next.
Sounds good.
Okay, so last time we were talking about how being a civil enforcement officer is about way more than just handing out tickets. It's a dynamic role that needs tech skills, people skills, and a real sense of public service. And we were just getting into how RoleCatcher can help you actually land one of these jobs with their resources, ace your interviews, and streamline your job search.
Right. And one thing that really stood out to me about RoleCatcher's approach to job hunting is their browser extension, RoleCatcher.capture. It's a game changer.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about that. How does that work again?
It's so simple, but so smart. You know how when you're browsing job boards, you see a listing and you're like, ooh, that's interesting.
All the time.
Instead of having a million tabs open or bookmarking it and forgetting about it later, you just click the RoleCatcher.capture button.
And it saves that job listing to your RoleCatcher account.
You got it. It's like having a curated job board just for you right there in your browser.
That would have saved me so much time and frustration during my job search.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've lost track of promising postings. Okay, but let's say you've captured some interesting job postings. That's when the resume tweaking begins, right? And RoleCatcher has you covered there too, don't they?
They really do. Their CV and resume analysis tool is amazing. It uses AI to actually score your resume, like your existing resume, against the specific requirements of the job description.
So it's not just giving generic advice like use action verbs.
No, it's much more specific than that.
It actually digs deeper and gives you personalized feedback.
Exactly. It's like having a career coach look over your shoulder and say, okay, here's how to make this even better. Like it might suggest, hey, add some keywords from the job listing, or try quantifying your accomplishments with numbers, things like that.
That's incredible. I can see how that would be so helpful, especially when so many companies use those automated screening systems. Your resume has to be top-notch just to get seen by a human.
Exactly. And speaking of skills, remember how we talked about how important continuous learning is in this field?
Oh yeah, staying up to date on all the latest technology and regulations, absolutely.
Right. Well, the cool thing is, RoleCatcher's CV analysis tool can actually highlight potential skill gaps based on the jobs you're applying for.
So it's not just about making your resume look good, it's about making you a better candidate.
Exactly. It's like having a built-in roadmap for professional development. Instead of wondering, what should I be learning? You'll know exactly what skills will make you stand out to potential employers.
That's so valuable. It's one thing to know you should be learning new things, but it's another thing entirely to have a tool that tells you exactly what to focus on to get ahead. Okay, so we've talked about finding jobs and perfecting your resume. What about the interview process? That's always nerve-wracking.
Don't tell me about it, but don't worry, RoleCatcher has got you covered there too. They have this massive database of interview questions.
Okay.
And these aren't just generic interview questions, they're tailored to specific roles, including civil enforcement officer.
So these are questions that are really going to test your knowledge and your experience.
Exactly. They're designed to assess your knowledge of relevant laws and regulations, how you've handled tough situations in the past, your understanding of the job's responsibilities.
I remember spending hours trying to anticipate what kinds of curveball questions interviewers might throw at me.
Oh, I know the feeling. But having access to a resource like this, game changer. And it gets even better. RoleCatcher also offers AI-powered interview practice.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Yeah. You can actually record yourself answering questions and get personalized feedback.
So it's like having your own personal interview coach.
Precisely. Their AI analyzes your tone, your pacing, your body language. It even gives you suggestion on how to improve. It's pretty amazing.
That is next level.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how much that would boost your confidence going into an interview.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about nailing the interview itself. It's about setting you up for success in the long run.
Right, because once you get the job, the real learning begins.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher seems to understand that. They're not just trying to get you hired. They want you to thrive in your chosen field.
It sounds like they've really thought of everything. I'm so impressed with how comprehensive their platform is.
Me too. You can tell they're invested in helping people find the right job, one where they can really build a fulfilling career.
Absolutely. Well, we've talked a lot about the practicalities of becoming a civil enforcement officer, but I think it's important to touch on the human side of this job as well. Because it's not just about technology and regulations, it's about people, right?
100%. It's
Yeah.
easy to get caught up in the technical stuff, but at the end of the day, this is a career that's all about interacting with people from all walks of life.
Exactly. The RoleCatcher Guide talks about how civil enforcement officers often encounter a diverse range of individuals. What does that look like in practice? Give me an example.
Okay, picture this. It's a sunny afternoon, and you're patrolling a busy park. You might encounter a group of kids who are skateboarding a little too close to the flower beds,
Oh, no.
or a family who's having a picnic and maybe they're not sure where to dispose of their trash properly, or even someone who's lost their dog and is frantically searching for their furry friend.
Oh, that's sad. But it sounds like, in a way, civil enforcement officers are kind of like the heart of a community. They're there to help things run smoothly and lend a hand when needed.
That's a great way to put it. It's about being approachable, being understanding, and knowing how to address people's concerns in a way that's helpful and professional.
Of course, not every interaction is going to be sunshine and roses, right? There are going to be times when you have to deliver bad news, like when someone gets a parking ticket.
Yeah.
How do civil enforcement officers handle those situations when emotions might be running high?
That's where those conflict resolution and communication skills that we talked about earlier really come into play.
Right, right.
It's all about explaining the rules clearly, staying calm, and if you need to issue a citation, doing it in a way that's respectful.
It takes a special kind of person to do that effectively. You need a lot of patience, a lot of empathy, and the ability to stay professional even when someone's upset with you.
Absolutely. It's about remembering that everyone makes mistakes, and sometimes a little understanding and clear communication can go a long way.
It's true. Sometimes a little understanding is all it takes. But we were talking about those alternative titles for civil enforcement officer that RoleCatcher lists, and some of them are pretty funny. Do you have any favorites?
Oh, let me see. Okay, this one's good. Parking ambassador.
Parking ambassador.
Yeah,
That's amazing. It's like you're a diplomat for the Department of Parking Enforcement.
right. It definitely has a certain ring to it.
It does. It's so much friendlier than just meter maid, although I do kind of love the retro vibe of that one.
Yeah, it's got that old school charm. I'm also a fan of curb ranger, though, for some reason. It makes it sound like you're out there in the urban jungle, keeping things in check.
Curb Ranger.
Hmm?
I like it. See, this is what I love about RoleCatcher. They don't take themselves too seriously. Finding a job is stressful enough. It's nice to have a little fun with it.
Totally. Okay, but all joking aside, I think it's important to remember that this is a job with real responsibilities.
Absolutely. We've talked about the importance of communication and conflict resolution, but what about the actual regulations that civil enforcement officers are responsible for enforcing? I bet there are a lot of misconceptions out there about parking rules.
Oh, for sure. For example, did you know that even if a parking meter is broken, you can still get a ticket for parking there?
Wait, really?
Yeah, a lot of people think a broken meter means free parking, but unfortunately, that's not usually the case. The rule is if the meter's broken, you're supposed to move on and find a different spot.
Wow, good to know. See, these are the kinds of things that make having a civil enforcement officer around so important. They keep things fair for everyone.
Exactly. It's not about trying to trick people into getting tickets. It's about making sure everyone is aware of the rules and that they're applied consistently.
And let's not forget, those rules are there for a reason. They're designed to ensure public safety, manage traffic flow, make sure businesses have access for deliveries. It's all part of keeping a city running smoothly.
You've got it. And that's something that I think often gets overlooked. It's easy to get frustrated with parking regulations, but they're really there to benefit everyone in the long run.
That's a great point. Okay, so for anyone listening who might be considering a career as a civil enforcement officer, what advice would you give them based on everything we've talked about today?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say do your homework. Research what the specific requirements are in your area, because the job can look very different depending on where you are.
That's true. Every city has its own unique set of regulations and challenges.
Absolutely. And of course, I can't recommend RoleCatcher enough. They offer such valuable resources, their guides, their tools, their AI-powered features. It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
They really do go above and beyond to help people succeed. So if you're serious about this career path, definitely check them out. But beyond that, I'd say be prepared for a job that's both demanding and rewarding. You're going to need those communication skills, that conflict resolution experience, that ability to stay calm under pressure, but you also have the chance to make a real difference in your community.
That's it, exactly. It's about finding that balance between enforcing the rules and serving the public. It's about being a problem solver, a communicator, a calming presence.
Well said. And who knows, maybe you'll even get to be called parking ambassador one day.
Now, that's a title I can get behind.
Me too. All right, on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into the world of civil enforcement officers. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back soon with another episode exploring a new and fascinating career path. Until then, take care.
Bye, everyone.